Maria spent half a day with her mother and mother-in-law. They both came to help look after their grandson. Do not repeat my mistake. Even my 2-year-old son was surprised by their behavior, warns our reader. So how was the grandma's duel? I wouldn't say I like lecturing everyone around me, but I have to speak up this time. I am a young mother, daughter, and daughter-in-law. This is precisely the order in which I care about family relationships. My son is most important to me. At the same time, I try to visit my parents as often as possible, although work and an absorbing 2-year-old at home do not make this task easier for me. I have 400 kilometers from my family home, so my grandson communicates with his grandparents mainly through the camera on the phone. However, the other grandma and grandpa are almost at hand. They have an hour's drive to us. For this reason, we see each other at least twice a month. Recently, even more often, the in-laws offered to help in the care because the son was chronically ill. Naturally, my husband and I appreciated the gesture. Thanks to them, we could carry out our professional duties in peace. However, the nursery reminded us about autumn infections again. After 2 days of staying among 30 coughing toddlers, our only son came home with a runny nose. Then the mother-in-law called to say she could take care of her grandson for a few hours because she had a few things to do in Warsaw anyway. I was happy. The more that my mother also announced her arrival. That meant my grandson would see 2 grandmas at once. At the time, I thought it was the perfect scenario. Today I appeal, do not repeat my mistake. It was a festival of embarrassment. Sea of Rad. The beginning was promising. The son went crazy at the sight of his mother-in-law, and when he saw the other grandmother at the door an hour later, he jumped with happiness. I had prepared dinner the day before. I informed both mums that all they had to do was reheat the soup and put the meat in the oven at 12 o'clock for an hour and a half. After these words, I locked myself in my office to finish an important project on time. Did the grandmothers comply with my request? Not at all. Mother-in-law brought a whole roll of food with her. She is a great cook. She cooked a tomato soup, especially for her grandson. My mother, in turn, came with fresh dumplings. Both were going to serve the baby their delicacies. After an hour of work, I went into the kitchen to see if my son had eaten his first course. Both grandmothers were preoccupied with each other. The son was sitting on the carpet and painting the floor with crayons. At that time, the mother-in-law and mother discussed methods of diapering. My mother recalled the example of my sister-in-law. Her son is only 3 months younger than mine and is no longer in diapers. In turn, the mother-in-law boasted that she raised 5 children. Each was potty trained before their first birthday. Grandmothers concluded that we neglected our son because he should have walked without a diaper long ago, just like the other children in the family. I politely replied to both that the first attempts at potty training had not been successful so far. My son sometimes pees in the bathroom but treats it as a game, not a habit. What did my mother-in-law advise me? You are the mother, and you are raising him. Therefore, you must put him on the potty daily, even if he doesn't want to. Otherwise, he will go to kindergarten in a diaper, and you will be ashamed in front of other parents. My mother also added her 2 cents. I was showing him how his little cousin uses the potty today. He showed interest. Maybe you should visit them to see it for yourself? Even my 2-year-old son was surprised by their behavior. Instead of having fun together, he listened to their wise advice. I promised myself I wouldn't be nervous. I still have high blood pressure. I gritted my teeth and told both advisors that my husband and I would deal with this topic in our own time. Unfortunately, The mother-in-law did not give up. That's what you said with weaning, and you're still breastfeeding. And at the same time, you complain that you have a fussy eater at home. I looked hopefully at my mother. I was hoping he would stand up for me. But unfortunately, she also breastfed my brother and me for a long time. Fortunately, this time she took my side. Night feedings do not harm the baby. Instead, breast milk helps build immunity. That may be why he gets over all colds so quickly. The other grandmother, however, was not going to let go. This time she reminded me of my mother's mistake. Don't be offended, but you probably just breastfed your babies unnecessarily for so long. You also complained that they ate poorly. Everything has consequences, and I can see that your daughter seems to be repeating your mistake. It was a mistake to visit you together, I thought. It was too much. I finally exploded. I decided to end this pointless discussion. Could you please take care of dinner? I've got everything ready. Just warm it up. The son should have been sleeping long ago and not eating crayons out of boredom. If it's a problem, I'll take a break from work and feed him myself. Both grandmas felt stupid. Maybe they realized they didn't come here to point out my upbringing mistakes but to take care of my grandson. My mother-in-law started reheating the soup. Hers. Not mine. My mother was playing hide-and-seek with her son at that time. She also declared that she would put him to sleep after dinner. The remaining time of visiting was devoted only to the grandson. No unnecessary comments on how I raise him. The funniest thing about all this is that my mother complained all her life about her mother-in-law interfering in her marriage. I know from my husband that his mother was not too fond of wise advice from her mother either. Too bad they both have such short memories.